Hello, everybody. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, and I'm going to talk about what is arguably the best vampire movie ever made. I love this movie. I watched this movie when I was young, probably too young that I shouldn't have been watching it in the first place, but you know, I really do love this movie. I think it's the best vampire movie, arguably, of all time. For me, it's neck and neck. And the movie I'm talking about is George Romero's Martin. Now, for me, honestly, this movie is neck and neck with Salem's Lot as the best vampire movie ever made. I first, I didn't know about this movie until when I was a young kid, and we watched the Fangoria video, Scream Greats Volume One, where they talk to Tom Savini, and he starts talking about the way he did, special effects for the movies that he did and stuff like that. And this was one of those, we were kind of in this phase for a while there. It's like we were so impressed with the work that Tom Savini did in movies and his special effects that personally, pretty much, we wanted to see everything he did. Any movie that had Tom Savini effects in it, we wanted to see it if we hadn't seen it already. It's like when we watched that, we already seen Creepshow and Dawn of the Dead, and I don't remember. I don't think Day of the Dead was out at that point, but we really wanted to see that one too. But like Creepshow, Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th, stuff like that. So we were very interested in seeing this, and I remember we rented this on video, and I sat down and watched it, and I was just blown away by this movie. Everything about this movie. I mean, I'm not kidding. To me, this movie it's a masterpiece. I love everything about this movie. The film stars John Amplis as Martin, and I want to say, if you get a chance, get on YouTube and follow John Amplis, or not YouTube, but Facebook. I'm sorry. Get on Facebook, follow John Amplis. He is a wonderful man. He's a very talented actor, and he's very nice. If you get on and you follow him, he'll talk to you. He'll talk to you back. You message him, he'll message you in return. He's supportive. He's a very nice man, and I've been lucky enough to be friends, Facebook friends with him for years. The thing is, though, is like in my opinion, John Amplis is one of those actors. He should be like right up there in my opinion. He is easily one of the best actors I've ever seen, bar none. Bar none. Okay. I mean, I put him up there with, the talent of like Jimmy Stewart or Spencer Tracy or James Cagney or, Laurence Olivier. To me, he's that good. And his performance in this movie is nothing short of astonishing. I mean, his performance is perfect. Now, the movie is written and directed by the late master George Romero, and this movie is just brilliant. It's a very intelligent vampire film. I promise. As soon as I get done gushing all over this movie in a second, I'll tell you what it's about. But just everything in this movie works. Okay, Savini's special effects are a lot of fun to watch. Some of it's just it's fun because it's one of those deals you're trying to figure out how he did it. So it's fun watching the magic trick of his special effects. Like I said, John Amplis's performance is perfection. That's the only way I can describe it, is perfection. Okay, don't believe me? Okay, not just watch this movie. If you can, get your hands on the Scream Factory Blu-ray of The Dark Half that George Romero also directed, based on Stephen King's book. Watch the bonus features. Look at the behind-the-scenes stuff. Okay, as it turns out, John Amplis was Timothy Hutton's double. Because Timothy Hutton was playing two roles in that movie, but they had another actor in there for him to bounce off of when he was doing his scene, so that way he would give a more credible performance instead of just him standing there acting to nothing. He had somebody to kind of bounce off of. So John Amplis was his double for the movie, and I'm not even kidding you. They have like behind the scenes footage of the two of them together, and John Amplis is he's acting his ass off. I mean, he is giving Timothy Hutton just so much to work with. So if you go watch that movie and you say Timothy Hutton did a great job acting, that was part of the reason why. I mean, he had a great actor like John Amplas to bounce off of. And I mean, it's just, I mean, he's not just, it's not a deal of like John Amplas just, staying there, oh, it's say that, yeah, he's not just standing there delivering the line. He's giving a performance, and it's a very good one. And I got to be honest, it's one of those kind of deals. Like, I even sit here and wonder to myself, like, why didn't they just? Wouldn't it make more sense if they just had Timothy Hutton play the one character and just have John Amplas play the bad guy? That would have been a lot more interesting to watch, I think. But anyway, though, so going back to this, though, I mean, John Amplas, like I said, if you get a chance, get on Facebook, hit him up. He's awesome. Not just in this movie, but in he worked with George Romero a lot of movies. He worked on Dawn of the Dead. He worked on Day of the Dead. Creep Show. He's worked with Romero for many years, not just George Romero. He's done other work too, and right now he does a lot of theater work. And I believe he still continues to do film work, but he does a lot of theater work in Pittsburgh. And he's not just an actor; he's a stage director too. So, so if you can get on and follow him, he's just the greatest guy ever. He really is. Anyway, okay, so getting to the movie, what really makes this movie so good, you could say, well, it's a vampire movie. Seen vampire movies before and stuff like that. That's the thing. If you've already seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. But the thing that makes this movie interesting is the fact that it's not your typical Dracula type vampire movie. It's not. It's not Twilight. It's not True Blood. It's not. It's not Dracula. It's none of that stuff. Okay. The story is about Martin, who is a young man who he believes he's a lot older. At one point in the movie, his cousin, who's played by Christine Romero, who was George Romero's wife at the time, she asked him, "How old are you?" And he says, "I'm 84." Which, I mean, that's clearly not true because you see, looking at him, I mean, here's a guy who's easily in his like early 20s. But anyway, the thing is this man he's actually, I don't want to say he's insane because I mean he's very logical. He thinks very reasonably. At one point, like he's talking about there is no magic. So I mean he's very so you can't call him crazy really. Although he is definitely, his view is definitely skewed. But anyway though, so he's a man who he believes he believes he's almost a centuries old vampire, and he believes that he needs blood to survive, and that actually I understand that there is a true story that Romero got the idea from. There was a young man who went around murdering people, and he would drink. He said the reason why he murdered them was that he needed to drink their blood because he needed blood to survive, and that's what gave him the idea for this movie. And William Friedkin made a great movie called Rampage, which was kind of more based on the true story. Starred Michael Biehn and Alex MacArthur, and that's one movie I wish to God somebody, I don't care who, I don't care if it's Severin or Arrow or Scream Factory, somebody get a hold of this movie and put it out on Blu-ray because it's fantastic. It's a brilliant movie. But anyway, though, the character of Martin, he believes that he's a vampire and that he believes that he needs blood to survive, and so he's going to visit his cousin in I don't want to say Pittsburgh. Where was it? Braddock, Pennsylvania. And on his way there, he sees this woman that he's taken with, and you find out that he has a method to getting to his victims. He has a little kit that he keeps around with him that has syringes, and it has a serum that puts people to sleep. And once he puts them to sleep, he uses like a razor blade or piece of glass or whatever he has handy, and he slits their wrists or at one point he punctures a man's throat and everything else, and he drinks the blood and drains them of their blood and kills them. So you find out about like his method of finding a victim and killing them and getting the blood from them and stuff like that. And there is kind of an implication. It's not really shown too much, but there is kind of an implication that there might be this kind of almost almost want to say kind of almost like necrophilic kind of rape element that goes on, because he gets this woman unconscious, and then he, gets naked, gets into bed with her. You don't know if he actually like does much of anything with her. But he does speak in the movie frequently about that he wants to do sex with a live conscious woman and stuff like that. So he gets to Braddock and his cousin Kunta, no Kuda. He meets him there, and then they have this very awkward kind of silent train ride back to his home and everything else. And as soon as he gets in the door, the Kuda is all like, Nosferatu, and he's like, "You will not take people from the town. If I hear it a single time, I will destroy you without salvation." And you find out that this man, Kuda, truly does believe that Martin is a vampire, and that he's a vampire from the old country, and that, and he's here to kill and take victims and stuff like that. So he's like, you will work in my shop, and I will keep an eye on you, and all this other kind of stuff. Well, he and Martin get into it, and Martin tells him there isn't any magic, and you see he's like, the house is like, done up like a Hammer movie almost. He's got garlic, he's got crucifixes everywhere. It's like Martin takes the crucifix and like puts it to his face, and he's all like, see, he's taking the garlic and he's eating it and stuff like that. He's like, there is no magic and stuff like that. And so kind of like simultaneously, like Martin is going along, and he's kind of looking for victims so that he can find somebody to kill, so that he can get his blood to drink. And but at the same time, he meets this woman who, she, like I said, Kuda, he works at a grocery store that he owns, and Martin is working there as a delivery boy. And so he meets this woman, and this woman, she's married, but she's talking about her husband's always fooling around on her all the time, and she's unhappy and everything else. And then kind of little bit by little bit, they start to build this relationship and stuff like that. And just, the level of emotions that Martin gives, is like, you know, he's talking about like he doesn't want to be the way that he is, and he wishes that he wasn't. He wishes he was normal, but he never sees himself as normal. And his cousin buys him a phone, and he starts calling in a radio station and talking about it. And he ends up becoming this kind of like little known celebrity on the radio, on this radio show, and they call him the Count and stuff like that. And he's talking about like, no, this isn't how vampires really are. This is what vampires are really like and stuff like that. But of course, like nobody really knows he's going out killing people, drinking their blood, with the exception of Kuda, who suspects him of doing it. But they don't realize like he really is going around killing people, drinking blood. They think he's a gimmick, and all this kind of stuff. And at one point, you have the cousin who's played by Chris Romero, and her boyfriend played by Tom Savini. Who actually supposedly Tom Savini auditioned for the part of Martin but didn't get it, but he did get the part of what was his name? Arthur. The character's name was Arthur, and he did get that part. Plus, he got to do the special effects. He did stunts and everything else for the movies. So, but yeah, it's just kind of like it's kind of it's a very intelligent, very well thought out movie, well written, good performances. You have the character Martin. He kind of always, that's kind of the thing. It's like he always kind of sees himself in this kind of hell that he's in. Because it seems like everybody that he loves or everybody that he comes to care about leaves him, and he honestly believes it is punishment for the killings and stuff that he does. And it's such an interesting character for him to play. And like I said, John Amplas just knocks it out of the park. He just does such a great job in this. And honest God, this is another movie. I wish, please, Lord, let us get a, sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but please let us get a Blu-ray of this. I would love to see a Blu-ray of this sometime. I don't care who does it. Right now at this point, even if it's the Vestron collection, I'll take it. Just just get us bonus features on here. There's some stuff on here too, but get like interviews with John Amplis, get an interview with him. Get an interview with maybe some of the other actors. Maybe Christine Romero might still talk about it. You never know. Unfortunately, George Romero. Well, he's on here. He's done interviews and commentary on here, but unfortunately, he's gone. But anyway, though, yeah, just this truly is. This movie is so brilliant. It's so well done. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I mean, it's there. At one point there was talk about this. That Romero had actually written and shot almost like a 3-hour version of this movie. I would love to see that. At one point there are sections of this movie that are black and white, and it's very beautifully photographed. It looks like an old. It reminds you of kind of like a great old Universal monster movie where Martin, fantasizes, or maybe this is something he actually dealt with. I don't know, but you see him like running away from a mob that's chasing him, wanting to kill him, and he's trying to get away. And after he's seducing a woman and killing her and drinking her blood and all this other kind of stuff. And there's great black and white scenes that kind of juxtapose and everything else. And yeah, I think if Romero had made this a complete black and white movie, I think it would have been great. But hey, it's great as it is. So. And note of fact too, Romero even does play a small part in this movie. He plays the part of the priest. So just one movie from a master. George Romero is a master. I don't care what anybody says. He's a master. He was a genius writer director. So much wit and intelligence and just style went into this movie. I mean, this it's substance. It's everything. It's everything you could want from a movie. It's, to me, that, like I said, it's neck and neck between this and Salem's Lot. To me, was the perfect vampire movie. So yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be about it. That's about all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, Martin, just, oh my God, this is one of the best movies ever. And the movie came out in 1977, the year I was born. So really happy to say a great movie like this came out the year I was born. So anyway, that's going to end it for this video. So yeah, if anybody took the time to watch this video, thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, and I hope you love great George Romero movies as much as I do, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.